Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 292 of How About That Cigar Live. Thanks so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on
Rumble!
And for those of you listening after the fact on the audio podcast, thanks so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. We really do appreciate that. And of course, click on all of the great, big, beautiful buttons, the like button, the follow button, the subscribe button, so you don't miss anything going on with How About That Cigar.
The shit out of them.
Smash. So let's get our fantastic, incredible, wonderful, illustrious, producer,
Justy Smokes.
What's going down, guys?
Brother, it is good to see you as always. It's
going fast, ain't it?
We can't.
That beard is.
I know.
Fast.
I know.
I was thinking about trimming it.
Trimming it.
Yeah, trimming it.
It's not long enough.
Like 3 weeks growth.
Grows a beard faster than most of us.
Sorry, guys.
Can do other things that
I got to make up for what you guys can't. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, it's just jealousy on our part. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
We don't have to measure anything. It's okay.
I can throw it on the table. I don't give a fuck.
NBA Finals.
Who?
2 games apiece.
Who?
The Thunder and the Pacers. Game 5 is happening as we speak. So if any of our wonderful viewers want to, leave some live scoring updates. Last I checked, the Thunder were up by 12. So I guess we'll see. I mean, they are playing in OKC right now, so they have home court advantage for this game. Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, that's been a hell of a series.
It has been. Honestly, I feel like if it keeps the momentum, then it's going to end up being one of the best,
greatest ever.
Yeah, it's been a great series so far. So hopefully, I think so. It's 3-2 Florida. I'm pretty sure Game 6 is Wednesday. I'm pretty sure.
Tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? I thought it was Wednesday.
All right.
I don't know. If anybody knows, put it in the comments.
This week.
It's Sunday.
It's
either today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. No, it's tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes.
One of those.
One of those. It's one of those days, and it's either in Florida or in Edmonton.
Yep.
I'm not sure exactly where.
Thanks for
And
helping.
then
Appreciate the info.
Yeah.
That's people come here for like concrete, solid information.
Matt Brugger, Game 6.
Game 6 tomorrow. Thank you, brother.
Matt. Where are they playing at, Matt?
Yeah. Edmonton or Florida. We got to clear this. I'm pretty sure it's Florida, but I'm probably wrong about that.
Matt, you still wearing that G hat? Matt, you still wearing that G hat? It's your month, buddy.
Tony says Tuesday is in Florida.
Tuesday in Florida.
Wait. Okay.
No, hold on.
There we go. The Twins are still
blah.
Meh.
Yeah.
The Yankees are still in first. Yeah. From if I remember right, they are extending their lead just a bit. I think it's like 3.5 games.
I think they just swept
yeah,
Milwaukee.
and the Twins just got swept by Houston which is like the worst team to get swept. I hate the Astros so much.
They're terrible. Only team I hate more is Boston.
What are you going to do? But I think it's time to find out what is in this glass.
It is bourbon.
Oh, well, it's not time to find out what's in this glass, but it is time to jump into this week's Spirit of Mystery, brought to us by Postania Cigars. Do you find yourself unsatisfied with the top 10 list from How About That Cigar? Are you wondering how cigars from Postania didn't make the HBTC list, but found their way onto other lists? Well, fortunately, you can be reminded every week with this Postania Cigars advertisement. Postania Cigars, the #1 unranked cigar in the industry.
And Mike Stephen Cabbage will be here in Minnesota.
What?
Crazy,
next
right?
month.
Next month? Huh?
Yeah.
Is he going to be in studio?
I don't think so.
No, it's going to be in it's a Saturday and he's leaving. He's got a baby shower and then he's leaving on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
We tried.
It'd be nice.
And I got to throw this in there.
Uh-huh.
I find out that
you brought it up last week.
Did I bring it up last
don't
week?
Keep picking that
Okay.
one.
I'm not gonna keep picking that one. It's all right. I'll be okay. I'll be fine. No, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. All right. So this week's Spirit of Mystery brought to us by Postania Cigars. There's a bourbon. It smells like a bourbon. Maybe a rye. A little spicy. Sweet. All right, let's see. That's pretty good. It's got good texture. You guys know I like texture. Yeah. It's got good texture. Good sweetness, good mouthfeel. Mouthfeel. Good sweetness, a little bit of funk, a little bit of spice. So it's a little bit of heat,
a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
Everything you like.
It's not super hot. I feel like this is like 112, somewhere between 112 and 118 is my guess.
Yeah, could be right.
But I like it. It doesn't seem like really there's nothing off the wall about it that I can taste. I'm not getting like you've been hitting me with like some honey aged barrels or some Amburana or some port or some cab or whatever, but this just seems kind of level. It doesn't seem like there's anything off the wall with balanced. Thank you.
Tastes like a damn good bourbon.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. So I like it, and I'll keep drinking it throughout the show, and we'll find out what it is a little bit later on. But we have to get our special guest on the show right now.
Who is he? Who is this man we speak of?
We will find out right after we hear this fantastic announcement from Drew Estate. And Drew Estate is proud to unveil Deadwood Dominicana. She represents a milestone for Drew Estate with the focus purely on the Dominican tobaccos inside, all enhanced by the Mexican San Andreas binder and Connecticut shade wrapper leaf with a premium sweet cap. Available in 4x38, 5x50, 6x50, and Raul's favorite, 6x60. Dominicana made her grand debut at the 2025 PCA show in New Orleans with MSRPs of $6.50 through $13.50 per cigar. For more information, please visit drewestate.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and help us welcome to episode 292 of How About That Cigar Live from Cavalier Cigars, Mr. Brian Matola. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's up, fellas? How are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm sitting out here in Reno, Nevada, about 5 days away from my kid's wedding, and everything's good.
Oh, you got to love that.
Good to hear.
Man, that's and it's nice to know that the weather is cooperating. I know we talked a little bit before we went on the air. It's nice to know the weather's cooperating. Sounds like it's not insanely hot, so I'm glad to hear, and hopefully that good weather will continue through the weekend for that wedding.
I hope so too. Yeah, it's an outdoor wedding, so you never know, right? Crapshoot.
Yeah,
it might rain, it might not, but either way, it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
What are you smoking, Brian, and drinking over there?
Tell us what you're smoking.
I'm smoking the Green Jacket.
Ooh, Inner Circle Green Jacket.
And I am pairing it with water.
Best pairing in the world.
Because
Well,
I am in the desert and I can see my skin just peeling off my arms. It's unbelievable how dry it is out here.
I am drinking agua with you too.
Agua?
Agua.
Agua for you.
And I'm not smoking tonight.
What are you smoking, Matt?
The lovely Cavalier Black USA exclusive.
Wow.
And
Love it.
I am also smoking the same thing, the Cavalier Black USA exclusive.
Nice.
So one of the things, Brian, that we love hearing about from everybody who comes on the show, and obviously we're going to get into talking about Cavalier cigars and learning about, you know, some of the blends that you guys want our viewers to know about. But we also love hearing about people's stories whenever they come on the show. So tell us a little bit about, you know, your first cigar experience and how that kind of led to you getting a career in the cigar industry.
Yeah, and what got you in the career?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's interesting, right? Because smoking cigars can be generational. So my grandfather used to smoke 2 packs of unfiltered Lucky Strikes, but he was also a cigar smoker, right? But he liked the act of cutting and toasting and lighting a cigar more than he did smoking it. So he would put it down and then go back to his unfiltered Lucky Strikes. So when I got old enough, I would pick up his cigar out of the ashtray and smoke it. So that's how I started smoking cigars. Now, luckily, he had great taste in cigars. He smoked a lot of pre-embargo Cubans, which were good. He would be very unhappy with the status of Cuban cigars right now. They are nowhere near what they were back then.
Yeah.
And then I got into the industry about 9 years ago. And I just felt like, you know, having been clean and sober for 33 years, I owe everything to these little cigars, right? I felt like I had to give back to the industry that saved my life, essentially, right? So that's how I ended up in cigars. And here I am 9 years later. We're 5 years into our factory in Honduras, and the brand is doing well and everything is good. So,
Nice.
but once my kids got old enough to go off to school and college and take care of themselves, then it was time for me to do something that I wanted to do. So I got into the cigar industry.
What congratulations on being sober so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
What'd you do before? Just out of curiosity.
So I did a little bit of everything. You know, I graduated from school like everybody's supposed to, you know, graduate and then get a job, but I couldn't afford my student loan payment, so I went back to school, right? Just kept going back to school. Finally ended up with a master's in global leadership. And then from there, I just went out into the world with no idea what I wanted to do, just like everybody else. I was a commodities trader for many, many years. I traded primarily S&P futures. Which is, by the way, the most fun you can have with your clothes on. And then I went to work in for food distributors, because after the commodities, I did some work in the milk industry, working with farmers and hedging their milk production. And then that segued into the food business. And then I got into cigars.
Nice. And tell us about kind of, you know, because you were, you had some time with some other cigar companies. What led you to Cavalier Cigars? And what made you decide this is the this is a good move for me to make. This is a good spot for me to be?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I came into the industry with Illusione cigars, right? And I learned a lot from Dion Giolito. But one of the things I could never figure out was, why didn't he own his own factory? Why didn't he get into the growing portion of it? And I met Sebastian at a multi-vendor in Virginia. Sebastian's the founder of Cavalier. I met him at a multi-vendor event in Virginia, and a couple of weeks later, he called me up and he was like, "I'm thinking about opening a factory in Honduras." And I said, "Well, I'm in." And he said, "Well, wait, I wanted to talk to you about it." And typical, the Europeans, they overthink stuff. He wanted to have a 3-hour conversation that was going to lead to, okay, we're going to do a factory, which I solved in the first 10 seconds of the conversation. Let's do it. Let's just do it. I mean, no sense talking about it. So we opened the factory 5 years ago, and I really got to see that end of the industry, and I fell in love with it right away, like instantly. Like, you take these leaves and you turn them into this, and it's so raw and no technology, just totally relying on humans to make these, labor people, picking, packing, sorting, rolling, color coding, just, it's all done by hand, and it's amazing. Right. So I fell in love with that. And then Sebastian kept saying to me, "I need help. I need help with the brand. I need help with the brand." And I kept, advising him into, you need to find somebody that has an emotional attachment to your brand. You don't want to just take anybody and give them a job that they're just there to work. Right. That's the worst thing you can do, especially in an industry that, we use the word passion and it's way overused, but the reality is you have to be passionate about the brand that you're working with. You can't just, it's not the kind of thing, like, I went through food sales. People sold food they didn't care about, right? But they could do it because it didn't really matter. But with cigars, you have to really love what you're representing and what you're part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I finally made the jump over. No, I finally made the switch, and it was a really good move because I did have an emotional attachment to it. I was a partner in the factory where the cigars were made, so it just made sense at that point.
Okay. Yeah. And from the standpoint of kind of the specific blends, and I know that every company goes through changes as far as, maybe there'll be some of the earlier blends that maybe will get you'll start focusing more at certain times on some of the newer stuff that's coming out and that kind of thing. So kind of a snapshot of right now, like mid-June 2025 for Cavalier Cigars. What are you guys, as far as the blends that you guys really want the customer base out there and the cigar consumers out there to know about? What kind of are you guys really wanting to get across to the consumers when it comes to your blends right now?
Great question. And, with any cigar company, you have to establish your core blend, right? And when you talk to people about core blends and they ask you, well, that blend hasn't changed in 6 years, they're so wrong. The blends change constantly because Mother Nature is throwing different tobacco at you all the time. So what you have to do is get the blend back to what the original intent of that blend was, but it's constantly changing year to year. I mean, you get a dry year, a wet year, a rainy year, cloudy, whatever. We're dealing with a product dictated by Mother Nature, and we're trying to reproduce that year in and year out, which is very difficult, right? Like somebody that grows corn, for example, you don't compare last year's corn crop to this year's corn crop. We just don't do that. But everybody that smokes a Cavalier white wants it to taste like it did 8 years ago. And so that's our job, is to constantly keep the blend as close to the original intended blend or flavor profile, maybe is a better way to explain it. So you're constantly working on your core. So for us, our core lines are our white, our black series, our Viso Jalapa, our regional exclusive for the United States only, because we do sell in 42 countries around the world. The Prospector, the Inner Circle, the Domaine Rouge, and the Tres Delinquentes. Those are our core lines that we are always working on to maintain the integrity of those blends. And then we do throw in every year a limited release, which I was just talking to a guy about limited release. What's fun about those is, you don't have to recreate them. So you can just like use limited to, like, for example, this year, in addition to our annual limited release, we're doing 4 drops of a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, 4 different blends, 4 different drops. But it's so much fun because you don't have to worry about recreating that over and over and over and over. So, for example, we got enough wrapper leaf to do 20,000 cigars, and that's it. That's all we're going to make. So those are the fun projects, right? Core line is where you have to focus, but it's also the hardest, because you hear cigar smokers all the time say, oh, this blend isn't what it used to be. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes there's just not availability of the tobacco that you were using, and it did change a little bit. Sometimes it's just in their mind, right? Maybe they're having a bad day, or they ate something different that affected the taste of it. But the core lines are really critical to any cigar brand. If you don't establish your core lines, then people don't know what to smoke from you. Like, people know Viso Jalapa, all tobacco from Nicaragua, from one growing region. They know our white series. It's a very light Habano with a Connecticut binder. Our USA regional exclusive, Mexican San Andreas with a Connecticut binder, some Pennsylvania broadleaf in the filler. I mean, so those are our core lines that we focus on and continually maintain throughout the year. We're always smoking components to see where the tobacco needs to be adjusted to get it back to the original intent. I don't know whether that makes any sense at all, but
do you think
that's
do you find it hard to manage, for only being around 5 years, having 7, 8 core lines? And by the way, I do love your Inner Circle. That's my favorite cigar you guys make. I don't know why, but I love that fucker.
Thank you.
But yeah, do you find it hard to manage those 7, 8 scenes that you guys have only been around for 5 years? I mean, it's pretty good.
It is. It's difficult, right? And so one of the reasons why when I met Dion and asked him about owning his own factory, he said he always worried about access to tobacco. So we have forged a solid partnership with the Plasencia family. So most of our tobacco comes through the Plasencia family. And, to make a relationship with the largest grower in Central America, that eases some of that difficulty, right? Because you're going to have access to as much tobacco as you want. My factory manager, his wife is the granddaughter of the CFO of Plasencia. Her uncle's in charge of all raw materials and factories and farms for Placentia. So we have a really good, tight relationship with them, and that alleviates that problem of how we going to manage these blends, right? Because our tobacco is from a steady source. It's a source that's infinite when it comes in terms of tobacco. And that just really, it's who you surround yourself with that's really important to manage that process.
So for and I kind of want to get into the subject of, the way that you like to communicate with shops out there. And let's take the example of let's say a shop that isn't yet carrying Cavalier cigars. So kind of take us through your philosophy with the way you make contact, the way you make an appointment, show up, share the products with them, share the story with them, that kind of thing. What do you want a shop to know about, the cigars, the story, the kind of the journey, and in order for that shop owner to say, yeah, I think that's a product I want on my shelf?
Yeah, right. So that's what we do a lot of, right? And and I hate the word, but I got to use it because there's no alternative. Being a boutique brand and having a boutique factory, right? Because we are small. It's funny because you can walk into a shop and know immediately where the conversation's gonna go just by looking at the humidor, looking at the people in the shop, looking, there's clues. You walk into a shop and you see nothing but legacy brands, that's gonna be a hard conversation, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation becomes, why don't you differentiate yourself a little bit? And, the boutique world really drives the cigar industry. It's crazy because the people with the biggest wallets in this industry don't drive the industry. They're looking down at us saying, what are those guys doing down there? Because the boutique world does make a lot of noise in the cigar industry. So when you walk into a shop and you see nothing but legacy brands, you know that it's going to be a real tough conversation to get them to see the light of boutique cigars. And there's two types of retailers out there. There's people with cigars for sale, and there's people that sell cigars. They're two entirely different shop philosophies. The people that sell cigars are the ones that we seek out and partner with, because they're the ones that are going to say, look, try this. I know you've been smoking medium to mild cigars every day. You've been coming into my shop. Try this white series. This is going to hit your profile perfect. And those shops know their clientele. They know what they smoke. They know how to guide them, and they know how to sell cigars. Those are the ones we seek out and look to partner with. Like I was just at one in Idaho, the Vault. They have maybe 10, 12 brands in their humidor. And I think My Father's Cigars is probably the biggest. Maybe there's a little bit of Fuente and Davidoff in there now, but for the most part, it's all boutique brands. And the guy who owns the shop and the guy who runs the shop, they are completely involved in this industry, and they know how to build brands. So much so that when I went to the West Coast to Portland, Seattle, that neck of the woods, people were saying, yeah, I know this brand. They do really well with it at the Vault, right? Like, so that's cool when that starts to happen. So, for me, I try to tell people that our goal as a company is to put quality before our price point. And the reason why boutique brands are so unique and special is we're tobacco nerds, right? We build blends around a particular tobacco. and we don't worry about the marketing, although we should a little bit more. But that's not the first thing developed, is not the marketing plan, not the box, not the band. It's the cigar. We focus solely. That's why, I mean, I hate the word boutique. I think tobacco centric is more the word for us.
I like that. I like that. I haven't heard that term before.
Yeah, because that's what we are, right? So, in terms of conversations that I have, I love when shops tell me, yeah, we tried your brand and it doesn't sell. Well, give me the keys to the shop. Tell me where to send the rent check, and I'll show you how to sell cigars, because I've been sitting here for the last hour and you have not greeted or interacted with one person that walked through the door. And those are also the shops that complain about cigars being sold online. Well, you're offering the same experience that the online retailer offers. You just have cigars for sale. You didn't come in, you didn't greet anybody. You didn't say, hey, Matt, John, Tom, whatever. I know you love this particular cigar. I just brought in this brand. Try this. I'm going to enhance your cigar journey, right? That's what it is. It's a journey. It's an experience. But if you don't have, if you have shops that don't interact with their clientele, we don't do well in those shops, because you got to tell the story. Hey, these guys have their own factory. They're a small boutique factory out of Honduras. You got to give it a ride, and then it's up to the cigar to perform at that point, right?
Yeah. I got a question to go back. I should have asked this earlier. My apologies. But what made you go to Honduras?
Well, that's interesting, right? Because there's a few things that people don't know about Honduras, and one of them is we actually pay our factory employees double what they make in Nicaragua. So we take much better care of our employees than they do in Nicaragua. And we went to Honduras because that's where Sebastian originally went when he left Switzerland. He went to Honduras. He made the relationship with the Plasencia family, worked at their factories for a while. And so then when we opened up in a house owned by one of the Plasencias. We converted it into a factory. And actually, Nestor designed the flow of the factory. And I don't know how old you guys are, and if you remember E.F. Hutton, but okay. So we just all dated ourselves. But when Nestor Plasencia said, "This is how I think you should design the factory flow," we didn't go, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, it was like, yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. Yes, sir. We're all in, actually. So that's what made us go to Honduras. And I'm really happy that we did, because I met my wife down there. I have a beautiful baby boy down there now. And so everything just sort of worked out the way it was supposed to.
Awesome.
Nice.
And from Tony Curry, he says, how much gold leaf does Cavalier buy every year? And then also, I know it's the gold that's on the cigar. What made you guys want to put that on there? What's the significance of the gold stamp that you smoked through? And I was scared to smoke it the first time, but then I learned you could do that. So
most people are. So we buy a lot of gold. It comes from one of the oldest manufacturers of 24 karat gold leaf, edible gold, food grade gold leaf, out of France. And they come in 3-inch by 3-inch squares. And we have girls at our factory. And the reason why we have girls do it is because they pay much more attention to detail than guys do. And they put a template on it and they cut the gold diamonds out, which is insane. It's insanity for me, because how do you show up every day and cut gold diamonds? Remember the time to make the donut commercial? Yeah. That's how I would feel. And so, one of the things that I always prided myself on in business was not asking people to do something I wouldn't do, because if you do that, it becomes very apparent to the people that you don't want any part of this job. That's why you're making them do it. I don't know if I would show up every day and cut gold diamonds. So I give those ladies my utmost respect, and I respect everybody, but they get a little extra attention because they're doing a job that I would not do.
Yeah.
I mean, we have two different sizes too, because on our Lancero it's a smaller diamond, and the reason it's on there is it's a brand identifier, right? So one of the challenges that most brands have, smaller brands, is people smoke it, they like it, but they can't remember what they smoked, right? Like they come back to the shop 2 weeks later. Hey, that cigar you recommended for me was wonderful. Well, which cigar was it? Oh, it was the one with the red band on it. Well, thank you. That's half the humidor now, right? Like, so we've narrowed it down to 50% of. I carry 2,000 facings. Now we're at 1,000 facings. Can you tell me more about it? Well, yeah, it was round and about 5 inches long. Okay, well now we just described every Robusto in the world, but and took out the box price. So the gold is on there to identify the brand. Hey, do you have the cigar with the gold diamond on it? And the shop owner goes, yeah, they're right over there. So you don't miss that. I really liked your cigar, but I have no idea what it was, right? So that's what the gold diamond's on there for. And you can smoke right through it, and you have to be careful how you say that. Because I actually had a girl try to smoke through the gold diamond, and I'm like, wow, honey, if I wasn't married, I love you. You are the girl for me. The freaky shit I could get you to do, honey, would be unbelievable. But
I love it.
Anyway, you have to take the paper band off. I tell people that because they still put the little white packet in beef jerky that says "do not eat." Right. So as long as they keep doing that, I'll tell people you got to take the paper band off. But you can smoke through the gold, and the reason being is, and it won't do anything. It doesn't interact with your cigar, doesn't impart any flavor because gold begins to melt at 1948 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you get the internals of your cigar that hot, you're going to look really funny without lips. So it'll just sit on the ash. It doesn't impart flavor. I love guys that tell me, "Oh yeah, I can taste the gold." No, you cannot because it's not doing anything. It's just going to sit on your ash. If you don't ash before you hit the gold diamond, once you get through it, it'll just sit there on the ash, right? So it's a brand identifier, and we do buy a lot of gold. And you would think that they would steal the gold at the factory, but they steal the toilet paper and not the gold.
Well, I mean, you can't wipe your ass with gold leaf, and so
I get apparently not. So
yeah. So for you as a cigar smoker, and I know most of us, especially cigar nerds like us, we kind of go through phases, but what are blends that you go towards yourself? Like, are you a power blend guy for stuff you like, or do you like Connie's? Do you like where's your palate at right now?
So yeah, that's really a hard question for me because Cavalier does not make anything really, really full bodied, right? And I am a full bodied smoker. So I've adopted a second brand as my, go-to when I want to get punched in the face, and that's Black Label Trading, right?
Oh yeah.
I just smoked about a half hour before I came on with you all. I smoked one of those coffin nails, and it's just a punch in the face the whole time. It's like, I mean, I told you I was an S&P trader. I like to live a little wild. So that to me is like a wild cigar smoke. It should come with a seatbelt, right? Like you should strap yourself in. I gave it to a guy 2 nights ago. We were playing poker. I don't know if you guys know Big Dave. He used to hang around the Lugione trade booth. He was with the company from day one. And I gave it to him and I said, be careful. It's a powerhouse. We were playing poker, and about 45 minutes later, he said to me, bro, I can't get up. I'm like stuck in the chair. And he's a big dude too, right? He's about 6'4", maybe 300 pounds, maybe 275. He's a big dude. And to see this little cigar just bite him, I was like, that's fucking awesome, right? So, so I am a full body guy, but I'm a layer of flavors too. If you can deliver layers of flavor to me, I'm all in on whatever cigar it is. And I think for me, within the Cavalier portfolio, the one I gravitate to is the Viso Jalapa. Comes in the yellow box. I gravitate to that because I love the tobacco out of the Jalapa growing region. Right now, what's crazy is it's a valley, and right across the way is Honduras, and they grow the same similar tobacco. It just has the name of Azuquapa. It needs to be rebranded because people can't say that. Like Jalapa rolls off your tongue. Some people call it Jalapa, but okay, I get it. The J can be hard, like in Jeep, right? I mean, but the tobacco coming out of Jalapa just produces this sweetness, and you have to be so careful. You have to be so careful when you talk about sweetness nowadays because people think you did something to the tobacco to sweeten it. We don't do that. In fact, our factory, there's a little known thing in the industry. It's called Patoon. It's like nobody talks about it, but I'll talk about it because we don't do it at our factory. But it's basically like a big wash for tobacco that's flavored. And tobacco's like a sponge, right? It'll pick up anything you introduce to it. It'll pick up to it. It'll absorb it. So there's a lot of flavored enhanced tobaccos that don't necessarily market themselves as flavored or altered. But we don't do any of that. The sweetness that comes out of the Jalapa region is what Mother Nature gives to us, right? And it's magical tobacco, right? It was actually the signature tobacco that Dion used at Illusion. So I was a fan of Jalapa and Visos in particular. For everybody that maybe didn't see a tobacco plant, you have the mud leaves on the bottom, then you have Seco Viso, and then you have Lajero. The Viso is, some people call it the filet mignon of the plant, but I don't think filet mignon has any flavor. So I like to call it the ribeye of the plant, because you get more flavor out of it. So I love that tobacco. So within Cavalier, I gravitate to the Viso Jalapa, which smokes about medium, but it's so layered in flavor that it satisfies that full body need that I have.
Nice.
So tell me about the Inner Circle, where you came up with that idea and who blended that.
So the Inner Circle was a scary project for us, right? Because we're known for the gold diamond, right? That's the brand identifier, right? So we had to expand the portfolio, but we couldn't put any more gold diamonds on cigars because, like I told you, they're cut by hand, they're put on by hand. It screws up the whole packaging process. After the gold goes on, it has to sit for a day or two and dry before you can put it in the cello. So we just looked at our portfolio and we said we have to grow it. We have to grow the portfolio, but we can't do any more gold diamonds. And there was a couple of other reasons too, because somebody said earlier I was afraid of the gold diamond, right? Or I wasn't sure of it. Some people think it's a gimmick too, but then once you smoke the cigars, you go, wow, they're really, really, really great cigars. So the Inner Circle, when we decided to deviate from the Gold Diamond, they had to be just absolutely a banger of a cigar, right? And so they were blended by Sebastian and our factory manager, who is an absolute gem of a guy. His name is Raul Garrido. He's from
a great name.
Yeah, he's from Pinar de Rio, so he's stamped tobacco right out of the gate. And so we had to, we always tried to put quality before the price point. We had to knock it out of the park with the 2 Inner Circle blends. And both of those have been rated 91 by Aficionado, which, all right, ratings, it's a hot topic to talk about, right? For me, what ratings do is they just reconfirm that we accomplished what we set out to do, right?
Right.
That's all a rating is. I don't live and die on ratings. Because if ratings sold cigars, Illusion would be the biggest cigar company on the planet. They had, I think, 45 cigars in their portfolio rate 91 or higher. They had three number 3 cigars. The ratings don't sell cigars, right? Ratings for me, unless you get number 1 in Aficionado, but even that's kind of worn off over the years. Like, okay, there's 4 of us here. Do you know what got number 2 last year in Cigar Aficionado?
No, I don't.
I know number 1 was a Padron. I don't even remember which Padron it was.
It wasn't a Padron. See,
Last
and that's
year?
what I'm talking. Yeah, last year. No, that's what I'm
Was it?
talking
See?
about.
Yeah, see, I don't even remember. Yeah.
Right, and there's 4 of us in the
Was it
cigar industry.
It was my father last year.
Number 1, but my question was, what was number 2? So if you don't know what number 1, you're not going to know what number 2 is,
I
right?
don't remember.
Okay, and we are 6 months removed from that, and there's 4 people here in the industry, and none of us have a clue, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I have no idea what it is. And I ask that question to people all the time. You'd think I would know the answer to it, but I don't, right?
Now, if we were on Coop's show, because Coop is such an encyclopedia of cigar knowledge, he would remember what number 6 was in 2013.
I know what all the numbers are. I look at the numbers all the time. I'm always looking at the numbers and the ratings, and I just know all of them.
He does. He remembers everything. So I guarantee you that off the top of his head, Coop would be able to say what Cigar Aficionado's number 7 cigar of 2013 was. Just boom. But yeah, most of us, even those of us who consider ourselves cigar nerds, like you said, Brian, we're not going to remember that.
We don't.
There's too much information to remember these days.
Yeah. I can always look them up.
And how does the average guy in a shop going to remember it if the 4 of us in the industry can't remember it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so to my point, ratings reconfirm. So that's why I mentioned that they got 91 or both Inner Circle blends, because that's what we were shooting for. And for a small brand like us, that's a huge rating because, I can't afford to advertise in their magazine, right? Like, so that's a real rating, right?
Yeah.
I just can't, right? It's
only
impossible.
$25,000 a page. That's what.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Right. Like I have 2 nuts. I can't give one of them away, right? So that's the problem. So the Inner Circle project was really good. We did have a little bit of a problem with, of all people, with the name. You never would have guessed it. Circle K apparently has a loyalty program called the Inner Circle. So we did get a letter from them, but then we worked it out to work in harmony together. In other words, I can't open a convenience store and have a loyalty program called Inner Circle. And guess what? Circle K can't come into the cigar business and have an Inner Circle cigar. We decided to work it out, which we should have, because our businesses are totally different, right? They just they have to enforce the mark, otherwise it becomes void. But yeah, so the Inner Circle had to be just a banger of a cigar. All of them need to be bangers, but this in particular, when you deviate away from what you're known for, it's scary. Like the Inner Circle red one, the Domaine Rouge, that featured a wrapper leaf from Honduras, the Jamastran Valley growing region, which is like 30 minutes from where I live. So it was kind of cool to be able to do that and see that project, and how well received it was is really cool, because we did deviate from what we were known for, right? There's no gold diamond on there.
Yeah.
There's no brand identifier. A little bit scary. And then we came out later with the Tres Delinquentes, which is a incredible value cigar. They retail between $650 and $950, I think. But we did that because the cigar world is absolutely lost its mind with pricing, right? We are getting to the point now where we're pricing ourselves out of reach of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pricing heaviness going on in the last few years where it seems to me there's got to be a ceiling somewhere, and I feel like we've already, as an industry, I'm not saying Cavalier, I'm saying as an industry, I think we've already broken through that ceiling beyond what it should be.
Well, the next person that comes out with $100 cigar is going to be crucified. I mean, like, we haven't had a good crucifixion in a long time, so maybe that'll be kind of fun. But it's just getting ridiculous. So we came out with the Inner Circle. I mean, with the Tres Delinquentes, to kind of say, hey, we get what's going on here. We're gonna leverage our factory position and make an affordable value smoke that's just all long filler. It's a banging cigar. 3 wrappers, 3 sizes, real simple. Just a Connecticut Habano and a Mexican San Andreas Maduro. And we want to make it affordable for the guy who, is getting pinched right now, which is everybody, right? Everybody's getting pinched. I mean, look, I just took a tour of the country for the most part. I was in 15 states, and I can honestly tell you I was in 3 busy shops. Busy, meaning like constant activity all day long, just people in and out while I was sitting there. 3 out of 15 states is just incredible. That's an incredible number.
Yeah.
So,
and before we jump into our next segment, I just got to show our viewers. There it is. The
there
gold
you
diamond.
go.
See, it's and I'm fine, and I've smoked many of these cigars. I'm totally fine. Yeah, Raul's twitching, but you're not smoking, so.
It's food grade. It's like they put on cupcakes, steaks. Even I've even seen a steak wrapped, a New York steak wrapped in gold like that.
So is it time?
I think it's time. Do you, Justy?
Yeah, it's about
All right, guys, it is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right. So, Brian, it's time for the weirdest segment in all of cigar media. So I'm going to give a number, and you, along with Raul, Justin, and our fantastic viewers, are going to play 20 questions trying to decipher how this number of people died.
Oh, awesome. I love it.
Weird. Yeah. So the number this week is 84,830 people died
Whoa,
from this.
that's a big one.
Big number. The
In 1
biggest
year
number in
or
a very long.
Is this ever?
This was during it was a particular event that lasted a while.
The bubonic plague.
Not the bubonic plague.
Wow,
Is it disease
84,000 people.
It is not disease related.
Did they smoke the Carl Malone cigar?
No, this was not. We'll say this was not modern day. This was a while ago.
Was this an accidental death?
Not accidental.
The
David
Inquisition.
Floyd says AIDS.
Not AIDS.
The Inquisition.
Not the Inquisition.
Volcano.
Not volcanoes.
Death by thighs on
upon
thy face.
thy face.
I see what you did there.
No,
Allison.
that's not that doesn't cause death. That causes euphoria.
Happiness.
Or if you drowned while you're down
Happiness.
there,
Yeah.
you know.
No, that's too many for Woodstock.
Not Woodstock.
Was it in the U.S.?
It was not in the United States.
Pompeii.
Very
Okay.
good question. It was not Pompeii.
Was it a war?
It was a war.
Ooh, not in the U.S.
Not in the U.S.
Hmm.
In Europe?
It was in Europe.
They've had a lot of fucking wars in
Yeah.
Europe. That's kind of unfair.
Well, they've been around a lot longer than we
yeah.
have.
Is this like in the Dark Ages or something like that? Or
Spain? Did it have to do with Spain?
No.
Did they have
Okay.
swords and mallets?
They had swords.
so this is like medieval times.
This was
The French and English War of.
this was. I don't know the Dark Ages. I don't remember when the Dark Ages were. I feel like the Dark Ages were like the 1300s, so it was later than that.
War of Troy.
It was not the War of Troy,
Trojan War.
not the Trojan War,
Crusades,
not the Crusades,
Mongolian
not the
War.
Mongolian hordes.
In
Did
Europe.
the Catholic Church have to do anything with it?
A little bit, actually, a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Was it like the
The
Romans killing all
Inquisition.
the pagans and stuff like that?
Inquisition.
No, it was not related to the. This was after the Roman Empire,
Oh, was it?
long after the Roman Empire
It wasn't
fell.
the Inquisition.
No,
It's in Europe, David.
Europe.
China.
Hmm.
The
I
War
don't
of
know.
1212.
I'll say the war started in the year 1642.
Ooh.
Was France involved?
French Civil War.
It was not the French Civil War.
Was the Irish against the English?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Not exactly. No.
1600 something, huh? 42.
And I chose this because of a very specific reason that we'll get to in a minute.
English Civil War.
The English Civil War. David Floyd, good job with Google. Yes, this
See what you
war.
did there, David. We see.
This war began.
But
This
somebody had to get it.
the English Civil War took place between 1642 and 1651, and the reason I chose this is because the term Cavalier
Oh.
was first used as a term of abuse by the common people for the wealthy royalist supporters of Charles I of England and his son Charles II during the English Civil War. Now, the term over the next 200 years actually became a term of affirmation and a term of endearment for the, I guess they would be considered sort of the West Pointers of the United States. The Cavaliers were like the high echelon soldiers
Huh.
of England, and this was the Civil War between sort of the Catholic side and the Protestant side.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it was it was actually the first of like 3. So this was the big one. The English Civil War, 1642 to 1651 was the big one. There were a couple smaller like civil wars in the 30 or 40 years following that, but this was the big one. And that's where the term kind of came into common usage. And originally, like I said, originally the common people used it as a term of like, screw those guys. And then over the course of the next 100 years, it became a term of affection for the best upper echelon soldiers for England. So, and yeah, 84,000, and that's between both sides.
Okay.
So 84,830 people died in that particular war.
Wow, that's awesome. Dude, you did your homework. Holy shit. I'm impressed.
And it's getting 292 episodes. It's getting tough to find original new ways to die. So it's we're getting kind of thin on the Número de los Muertos scale, but there's still some more stuff out there to be found.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that was this week's Número de los Muertos.
I love it.
All right, it is time to reveal this week's Spirit of Mystery, brought to us by Postania Cigars. So you said that I was never, ever going to guess this one.
No.
And I have no doubt about that because you like to mess with my head. It is a very nice bourbon or rye. I think it's a bourbon because it's not super spicy.
It's a bourbon.
Again, I'm going to say somewhere between 112 and 118 proof.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think it's something I've had before.
Nope, you haven't.
But it's classic. This is just like a classic good sipping bourbon. It's got good flavor, good texture, good aroma, not too hot, not too bland, not too watery. So I like it a lot. As far as guessing it, so now give me a hint, like as far as does this bottle come from any of your recent travels?
Does not.
It does not. Okay, then I'm never going to be able to get
it. And then
it.
It does.
And then, well,
so he had it shipped here from somebody out there when he got back.
Think about it.
This isn't
This is my infinity bottle.
This is your infinity bottle?
Yeah.
So this is a mix of like.
It's all bourbons, though.
It's all
nothing
bourbons.
that's been stored in a sherry thing. It's just straight bourbon.
It's just straight bourbons. Wow, you really threw a curveball this time. Infinity bottle. So for those of you who don't know, an infinity bottle is when you get, if you drink spirits, and Raul doesn't drink spirits, but he collects them and he shares them with friends. So when you get down to like an ounce or 2 ounces left in the bottle, and maybe you just feel like you take a bottle and you pour all those like half pours, like, oh, I've got a half ounce of this and 1 ounce of that, and you pour it all into this bottle, and you try to keep it in the same family of spirits. So like you're only going to mix bourbons with bourbons, you're only going to mix scotches with scotch, and so on and so forth.
And another thing is, the reason why you do that, when you get to the last 2 ounces of your bottle, it starts to lose its flavor, it starts to evaporate, it starts to lose. So this way, when you pour it all in together and it starts mixing and having sex with the other flavors, you get something else that comes out of it. That's why.
That's cool.
This is good.
That's awesome.
So whatever is mixed in here, and I'm sure there's no way. Did you write it down by any chance? Like some people keep notes on the side of the bottle.
I kind of know it. There's some stag in there.
Okay. Oh, a stag. Yeah, I'm not upset about that. All right, so
gotta list somewhere else.
That's fun though. This week's Spirit of Mystery. It's an infinity bottle.
It's a mystery.
I like that. All right, let's jump into this week's lightning round.
Oh, I'm off.
We already did that one.
Oh, we didn't.
Oh no, that's later.
Yeah.
This week's lightning round brought to us by J.C. Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and The American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 114-year-old El Reloj Cigar Factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right, Brian.
Yes, sir.
These are some quick non-cigar related questions. So if you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
Ooh, that's awesome. Send lawyers, guns, and money.
Oh, that's a first time answer, and it's a great one. I love that answer. Wow, that's a good one. I like that a lot.
So, Brian, what is the most overrated and underrated fast food franchise out there?
The most overrated for me has to be Five Guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just not impressed for the value, for the ticket, the price tag, right?
It's expensive.
And then it is. It really is. And then the most underrated, I don't know. Jesus. Well, it's not a fast food chain. I'm going to have to say the most underrated is got to be the brisket sandwich from Buc-ee's, because people still shit on it. They go, "Oh, it's a gas station."
It's delicious.
So many people go like, "I don't understand. It's a gas station. What's the big deal?" You've obviously never have been. So it's not a fast food chain, but for me, those people that diss on Buc-ee's, you just haven't been. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, I've never been to a Buc-ee's in my life.
It's pretty amazing.
I love that place. Whenever I go down to Texas, we visit a couple of them. Yeah, and their food is phenomenal. Their desserts
Food's
are phenomenal.
amazing.
I've only heard good things.
Their beef jerky's phenomenal.
Yeah,
too.
you brought some back.
Yeah,
some different kinds, and they have great beef jerky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Justin.
All right, Brian, you ready?
Yep.
The zombies are coming. You get to pick 3 people from the cigar industry to be part of your zombie apocalypse survival squad. Who do you pick and why?
Jeremy McDonald from Wildfire Cigars.
Great answer.
Oh, yeah.
Great dude.
He would definitely talk him to death.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would just confuse the shit out of the zombies. They'd be like, I don't even know what to make of this guy.
Brandon from Apostate.
Yes.
Yeah, love him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I got to take my buddy James Brown with me because I need cigars. So, just bring some Neon Tigers and some Hornets with you, and I'm good. So those are my 3: James Brown, Jeremy McDonald, and Brandon from Apostate.
I love it. Right. Fantastic. Great choices. All right, now it's time for this week's Notable Smokables. So, Brian, every week on the show, each of us names a cigar that we smoked recently that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades, but maybe we're smoking it for the first time in a really long time. Or it could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we're smoking for the first time ever. What is something, and you mentioned, the coffin nail a little bit ago, but is there anything else recently that you smoked that really stood out to you?
Let me think about that. Yeah, I smoked the Room 101 15th anniversary. Is that what?
Okay.
Yeah.
The most recent one?
The most recent one? Banging cigar. I was so impressed.
Almost all of those Room 101 anniversaries have been good. Our favorite is still the
14.
Is it the 14?
Yeah.
Go out and get the 15.
I went through a box and a half, I think. I smoked it mainly because of the Vikings colors.
Nice.
You got to bring that up, don't you?
Yep.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. I'm not upset about it. You're a Jets fan. What do you care about the Vikings colors?
Because I live here. Go ahead, Justy.
I'm going to go with the Warped La Comina 10th anniversary. I have a box of those, and every time I smoke one, I love that cigar.
Nice.
So.
I had a Warped this week too, over the weekend. I was this close to putting a Warped on my list, but I actually chose something else. But I want Raleigh to go first.
So I happened to find a lost and found Carwell's butter, and I think there was 8 or 10 that came in a pack. The first one I smoked went down nice, but it blew up, and I was like, oh shit. The next 4 I smoked after that were perfect, and I gave a couple away, and those all burnt wonderful. It was just smooth and wonderful. It was wonderful.
Nice. I grabbed an old, not super old, but I think this is one of the brands that they put on the shelf. I think this might be one of their dormant brands. Maybe
I think they're coming back.
Crown Heads La Imperiosa. And I think this might be one they put on the shelf, but yeah, I think Raleigh might be right. I think this one might be coming back. But yeah, this one, I think it's, I don't know, 5. It's not super old. It's like 5 years old, 6 years old. Still good. Still a really good cigar. So that was my notable smokable for the week and for all of us. All right, quickly, some coming attractions on How About That Cigar Live. June 23rd. Eric Bay from Black Star Line will be making, I believe, his 3rd appearance on How About That Cigar Live. So excited to have him back on.
Great dude.
Love him. Absolutely love that guy. And we do have a programming change if you've been listening or watching over the last couple of weeks. So June 30th, we actually will not have a show. But keep your eyes open for July 7th. Making her, I also believe, 3rd appearance on the show. Ashley from Big Ash's Cigars, and a big announcement coming because there is, and I'm not going to spoil it for her. I'm going to let her unveil it, but a huge announcement coming from Ashley on July 7th. So, Brian, if you would please give our viewers and listeners an idea, where is the best place for them to keep up with you and everything going on with Cavalier Cigars?
So we have Instagram, Cavalier _cigars. And then for Facebook, we have a Facebook group, the Cavalier Gold Crew, spelt like Motley Crue spells it.
Nice.
So you can head on over there and verga.
Oh, we went sideways.
Uh-oh.
I hope the battery didn't die. We'll give it a minute. Everything's fine. There's nothing to see. Everything's fine. Hey, Luciano.
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Good to see you, brother.
Thanks for joining the show.
I hope his battery didn't die. It's okay. We'll give it a minute. So Ashley's going to be on. And then, honestly, we're scheduled all the way through. So we're scheduled all the way through August 11th. Yep. Yeah. We'll give more updates on like exactly who's going to be on and when, but we're scheduled all the way through August 11th. And we'll continue to schedule.
Have you heard that cigar? He's asked 3 times.
Don, I've
never heard of him.
I don't think I have. No. We could definitely check it out though. I don't think I'm familiar with that. No. I think Brian's phone battery died, or I don't know. I guess.
Well, thanks, Brian, for being on the show. We appreciate you.
Brian, for being on the show. So yeah, you guys know what is coming up soon on How About That Cigar Live. Be sure to check out Cavalier Cigars on social media.
Yes, and their Inner Circle is phenomenal.
It is a good cigar. It is a good cigar. So we want to thank our viewers and listeners for being the absolute best part of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us again, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on Rumble. And of course, if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, whether you're driving down the road, working out, whatever it is you do when you listen to your favorite audio podcast, thanks for making us a part of it. Click on all the big, beautiful buttons. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. Smash the follow button. Do all the smashing of all the buttons, because that way you won't miss anything that we have going on. If you have questions for any of us, you can email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Be sure to follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. You will find us at HBT Cigar. And of course, until we see you guys next time, Burn cigars.
not bridges.
Thanks, guys. Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.